Welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a 1932 Ford pickup truck. I got multiple castings of this, so I wanted to do something different, but I guess we'll see what happens. So why don't we head on down to the range and let's get started. This was actually one of my favorite castings, that's why I got multiple castings of it. And, I wanted to do something hot rod-ish with it. So, I was wanting to chop the top a little bit and stuff like that, but it had opening doors. So that was going to make it a little more difficult to still make it a hot rod, but be able to open the doors with. Because what I intend to do with this is, I'm going to cut off the front end. I'm going to chop the top a little bit, cut the doors down a little bit, and, kind of give it that hot rod style look. I ended up using these wheels and putting them on a little Volkswagen Bug that I got. And I ended up taking wheels from one of my square body Chevys that I had. It was a Harley Davidson one, because I got some better wheels I'm going to throw on that. And I just thought the wheels from that casting would look pretty good on here, which they do. And the thing is, I was trying to figure out a way I could still make the doors open and close, but with the way I was cutting it and the way it was going to turn out, there was no way they were still going to open. So, I ended up gluing them to the body. So no big deal there. I'm giving you a little heads up in the little spoiler alert in the video. And this was actually a really fun build, and I can't wait till the next video gets going, because I've already got plans on what I'm gonna do and what it's possibly gonna look like. I hope you all had a chance to check out my November 4 Horsemen build, the Pagani Huayra, however it's pronounced. I probably butchered it so many times in that video, but I ended up not using the chassis or the base for this truck because I had some parts that I ordered from Benchwork Toys that I ended up combining two parts together and made one chassis and made one base with. And I kind of had to hold off on paint for this project because I was waiting on getting a new airbrush, and I ended up getting a really nice one, and I'll probably put that in my next video, show you guys what I got. And I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Iwata, but really good airbrushings. I've never had any problems with them, and this one's a little different than the other two that I had, but it worked out really good, and I was really happy with the results. The interior portion of this, I only used the seat portion. Here I am with I think what it was called, the rat rod front end from Benchwork Toys. And I ended up using another one of these on another project, a little side project, 62 Chevy I was doing. But it ended up working out really well with this, especially because, another part I took from my order of Benchwork Toys, and I got like a lot of money put into that, like with a lot of stuff, a lot of things for dioramas, a lot of car pieces, and it worked out really well because everything lined up like I was hoping it would. And like at first I was like, what, I'm gonna try to use the front end and just attach to the base, but I was like, nah. So I ended up having this truck chassis. Like I said, I got it from Benchwork Toys, and I only got like 2 of them because I just didn't know how I was going to use them. But I'm like, what, this will be a lot better to use, and I could probably combine it with the front end from the rat rod and work from there. And I know y'all don't like seeing slow-mo of, people cutting metal and stuff like that. But that's why we speed them up. That's why we have that ability to do that. And when I'm putting the doors on it, I had like little pieces sticking out, from door hinges and stuff like that. So I ended up cutting those off, because I was like, there's really no point of using them. I had a lot of fun doing this build because it gave me a little opportunity to do a little bit more. And, just seeing what kind of, I guess, creation I could come up with. And see, that's why I kind of, when I order parts and stuff, I order in bulk. So I have stuff, just in case, like throughout the month, I just decide to do something a little different. I had the parts already on hand. And, I had this motor. It can't, I don't remember, I think it was another 32 pickup. It was a kind of a mix set with a trailer on it, but I ended up cutting the exhaust off of it. And I ended up changing that up. And right now I'm kind of just fitting up the chassis with the base and everything. I already glued the seat interior into the base, so it would sit right where I wanted it to sit. And here I am just cutting off the rest of the spot for the door hinges because it was just getting in the way. And I was just like, I felt like I needed it at the time, but once I started going through it, I'm like, well, I'm gonna end up closing this area off. And so yeah, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna cut them off and go from there. And I was really happy with the final results. I really was. And even the paint job, I put some decals on it, and it looks amazing. I was really happy with the idea. And my next video is going to be a little more creative build, and it's going to be something a little different. It's not going to be like, well, I don't know. You'll have to just wait and stay tuned and find out when I come up with the next episode. And this engine, oh my god, I was really happy with this engine, because it fit the style I was going with. I had to kind of trim up the grill a little bit just to get it to fit the way I wanted it to. But that was alright. It was no big deal. It was really easy to do. And I'm glad I did it because it just set off the whole look of the truck I was doing. It really did. It really set off the whole style, the whole, look I was going for. And yeah, you guys don't see it in paint right now, but you guys can see kind of where I'm going with this. And the one thing I didn't do, I didn't fully drop the entire roof down. I only kind of, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. But the way I went about it, I've seen it done before, and I thought I'd give it a shot, just to see what it would look like. And I really like how it became, I like how it turned out. And this is what I'm doing here, is I'm just kind of seeing the doors just fitting on there, and seeing how bad they stick out on the little portion, like where they hooked into the spring. So, one way I decided when I was dropping the top is I decided to cut the top portions of the door off. And honestly, it worked out great that way. I know there's a lot more people out there that is more informative and more, I don't know. Well, they can explain the stuff a lot easier than I can. But, I do the best I can with what I got. And, I'm really happy with the other builders that I've had the pleasure, the honor of getting to talk to, getting to, communicate with. And, so much advice and information you can get from other builders. It's remarkable. And you see here, like, I chopped the top, but the only thing I did is the front post is the only stuff I cut down a little bit. And what I did was I ended up making it to where it's slanted in the front, and I just puttied up the back. You know, I'm trying to do a little bit more different things with my videos. You know, I kind of got a little partial new entrance, partial, new halfway video. But what I'm doing here is I'm kind of trimming up the axle. I used a piece of brass pipe, or solid tube, for the axle, because I wanted it to fit perfectly with these wheels, and it went great. Everything was going well. I took some more parts from Benchwork Toys that I got, some vehicle 4x4 lifts, and I just kind of modified it a little bit and put the axle in between the chassis and the lift, just kind of to hold it in place. And because if I would have put it on the bottom of the lift or the top of the lift, well, it ended up going on the top of the lift anyway. But it would have just set up too high, and honestly, I think I would have had to put bigger tires on the back, and I really didn't want to do that because I didn't want it to just kind of look, out of proportion. So, I had a specific set of wheels I was wanting to use for it, so I wanted to make sure that the wheels match the body as much as I could. I extended the front axle out, made that to where it'd work out, and I'm just filing down kind of like the edges where they stick out on where I kind of had it cut at. So, and what I did was I had these exhausts that came from one of those little CO2 powered cars, the wood cars that you can make. I took like a little motor thing out there, used the exhaust from it, and just added them on. And I've already pre-painted the chassis with a charcoal color, and then I went over the front end of it with my chrome paint, my chrome pen. And then what I did was I took this paint marker, and I just kind of dabbed it really good onto the styrene here, and ended up painting it on with the paintbrush. And luckily enough, the paint that was in the paint marker matched the paint that I custom made. And I don't know how it happened, but you can't even really tell the difference. But I was really happy with how well it matched up. Here I am with the new airbrush, and what I'm doing is I'm going over with an oblique white, just laying that down for a base coat. And it's a wicked oblique white. It's a different, not just your standard, Createx. And I love how the new airbrush flows. I love how it works, and even coats. I can't wait to start trying to blend with this thing, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do on one of my newer videos. And here's the blue I was telling you guys about earlier on in the video. It's what I call Eagle Blue, and it was just a mixture of colors I just mixed up a while back, and I really liked it, and I wish I would have wrote down what all I mixed with it, but it's alright. I like coming up with new colors every time I turn around. I ended up getting a new red, so I'm going to try to, it's like a crimson red, so I'm going to probably try to use that later on. And I don't always put decals on my vehicles, but I was going to put those Flying Tiger decals you see up at the top left, but I ended up ripping one in half by accident, so I ended up not putting those on. And for those of you who don't know, I was in the Army for over 10.5 years. I was what they call a cavalry scout. I was reconnaissance. And I'm really proud of being military, being former military. I love the fact that most of the people that I've talked to with the same community were military as well, getting into this hobby. And like Paul from Diecast Graveyard, you know, cheers, brother. You know, Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, same goes for him. And just watching those two channels, you know, got me inspired to do this hobby. And I'm very proud of what I was doing. I'm very proud, you know, that I was in the military, something I was wanting to do for a very, very long time. And, you know, I was never ashamed of what I did. You know, I served with pride. You know, I got out due to medical issues. You know, I was hurt, I was injured. And, you know, I've been fighting the VA for a while now. Luckily enough, everything's going my direction. And this is one thing I always tell people, you know, when stuff was going bad for me, I'm like, get into a hobby. It will help. It's helped me, so hopefully it helps you guys. But you guys remember what we started off with. It was a really nice, you know, 32 Ford. I really enjoyed working on this truck. You know, I love the wheels that was already on it, so that's why I went ahead and put them on another vehicle and used them for that. I was really happy with the way this all turned out, and I really hope y'all like it too. So why don't we see the final result?
Check it out. Check it out.
And I'll see ya next time at the range.